personally, and I wanna talk on something that I hadn't talked about much because there's two type of absent males. There's a present absent male and an absent male. The present absent male is a man that's in the house but still absent because he's not involved where he should be involved. And then there's a man that's absent, and absent's three of them. I said two. There's a present absent, he's present and he's absent. There's an absent, and there's an absent present. So let me see, can y'all define the ones I'm talking about? Okay, this the first one I'm talking about. A present man. What am I talking about when I talk about a present man? Man that's there. What about a present absent? He's what? And what about an absent present? Okay. All right. So let me get somebody to tell me who want to tell me you want to say it? You don't have it yet? All right. Who has it and want to tell us what three I'm talking about tonight? Who has it? You got it? Sister Jasmine, you've been nominated? Okay. You've been nominated by the youth. All right. Tell me what I have here.
I'm confused.
She's confused. You know? Present? No, I just wanted you to repeat the three type of males I'm talking about tonight.
Are you talking about present, absent, and absent?
Okay. Tell me the difference.
Present is that you're there. Present absent is that you're in a home but you're not active. And absent is that you're absent.
So let me just talk about that present absent just a little bit, and I'm gonna go over. When a man needs to be there emotionally, physically, financially, mentally, all those aspects, he needs to be there for his children and wife and family. He needs to be there in all aspects. And we'll get this good because sometimes women mix it up too because they don't understand. Most men who are working men can't be present all the time. Most men, even in their staying at home, they're present absent because they have to take care of the responsibility. But to be able to be present absent and yet be present, because that present absent can work two ways. It can be the man that's present and that's absent in a bad sense, or it can be the man that's present and absent because he's working and got responsibilities, but yet he's present. Y'all see that, what I'm doing with that present absent? So there's a bad and good of a present absent. There's the present who's present and absent emotionally, absent mentally. I mean, just home, go in the room, don't do nothing, don't talk to the kids, don't. So he's present, but he's absent. But then there's the other one who's present, absent, who's good. He's absent because he's taking care of the responsibility, but emotionally he's present. Now that's what I had to be, because I've always been absent, going, working, but there's not a change in my children's relationship because I was present with them, even though I was absent. And their mother had to teach them my role and my responsibility and what that meant. But I've always been emotionally attached, mentally attached, and financially attached. And so these are some of the things I want to talk about tonight. Y'all with me? First question I want to ask you, I think one of our first problems that we have with homes. I'm going to use this word with black homes, and I'm not using the word black homes to make the black race look bad, and I'm not using it because we have black and white and Hispanic. We have a diversity of members in the church. But I'm using the black home because that's where a lot of the problems seem to be in. Most black people have not been able to really define what a man is. Most. We got a whole lot of different definition of men, and that becomes a problem because there's two ways to define something. You can define it by what you read, or you can define it by what you see. And if you're defining it by, and most of us define stuff by what we see. Okay, let's do this. Come, little fella. I always get Nick and tears on the ones that sometimes don't want to come to me. But let me see what we do. Come here, boy. Come in. Come in. Come in. Oh man, tonight. What a wonderful experience. Now, what color is this? What color? I'm going to ask y'all to do something for me. Define red. No, define it. We know it's a color, but define it. Define what red is. Define what is red. Define it. You can give me all these others. You've been saying red all your life, but define it. What is red? Yeah, you sell color, that's fine, but what green is a color too. So I mean, I want to know what is red and what. So go in your computer. Okay, let me see. Just this girl, she's smart. See what she did? What it says?
Red adjective of a color at the end of the spectrum next to orange and opposite violet as of blood, fire, or rubies.
Okay, so she gave a definition of it, and most of us they never know what that is. That it's close to orange and all this stuff. All colors are made of other colors, and they're mixed together. And most of us, if you ask somebody, and we use it all the time, we talk about it all the time, but to really define what it is, and we hear folks say, "You ain't no man," or "I want a real man," all that. But do you really know, based upon the Bible, what a real man is? And if you don't know what a real man is, one, it hurts us because your daughters don't know what to look for. If you don't know what a real man is, it hurt our sons because they don't know what to be. And so now we got a lot of messed up relationships because the boy don't know what to be, the woman don't know what to look for, so we don't have no clue. You can go sit down, boy. Last time I couldn't get you to come, now I can't get you to go. But so this is a question that's very complex, and it's even so complex that the angels wanted to know. Go to the book of Hebrews chapter 2. Hebrews chapter 2, the second chapter, and the 6th verse. Hebrews 2 and 6. We're going to talk about this. Hebrews 2 and 6. All right? Okay. Second chapter, 6th verse. Okay. Read it. All right. 2 and 6. One in a certain place, testify, saying, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" So he asks, what is man? So let me get a lot of definitions of what man is. Let me hear your definition. What is man? What is man? Okay, you say a provider, right? What if he's a provider, but he don't spend no time with his children? Or what if he's a provider and don't talk to them, don't deal with them? What if he's a provider and don't ever tell his wife he love her? What if he's so what we've done, most of us as men, We've got one part of it down, and that's that part that you said. And some of them don't even have that. So you ask what a man is, they say he's a provider. But then, what does he provide? Let's talk about what a provider is. What is a provider?
Hopefully a place to stay.
Okay, right. See, that's your definition of what a man is. Provide a roof of, that could be a sugar daddy. That could be the welfare office. Welfare office could do that. So most, when you get men out the church, out the world, some of them in the world, they ain't done none of that coming to church. The idea that they have a provision, and that is good. You're supposed to do that, but that ain't it. You're supposed to provide all other stuff too. You provide a place to stay, but what good is a place to stay and you're standing there full of hell? What good is a place to stay and you're standing there and the person that's speaking to you ain't talking to you? So it's not only to provide housing, but it's to provide emotional support, mental support. All of those things are necessary too. So those are things, and we'll get another few definitions. So you got part of it. And sometimes that's what we do. We get part of it, and then because we got part of it, that we got all of it. So even if you're doing all of this, buying all the stuff, and you're not providing the others, because let me tell you something. I want y'all to get this good. Sometimes, even though, and I had to learn this, sometimes even though, and these are a woman's needs, these are her needs. She needs to be fulfilled emotionally, and the children need to be fulfilled emotionally. And the question comes, how do I fulfill her emotional needs where she want my presence, and yet I got the job and all these other responsibilities to do at the same time? So she want my presence. She want me there for her. She want me here for the kids. And I know if I'm there as much as she want me there, I ain't going to have nowhere to work. I ain't going to have no job. Jesus was able to provide something that compensated for his presence being gone. He said, I'm going away, but I'm going to send you a comforter. So the problem is, if you properly knew how to comfort your wife, or you properly knew how to comfort the children, even when you're absent, they're still comforted. You can take a dog. And the owner's gone, but leave his cloth that smells like him, and the dog will shut up because the dog feels just like he's there. And the problem is, because some men are not there even when they're there, and the only thing they got that shows that they're there is their presence. So when their presence is gone, the woman feel like he's completely gone because he ain't got nothing else that's been there. So when you have your presence, your support, and your emotions, the only thing missing when you go is your physical. And they can deal with that because you've left another part of you in them. And that's what Jesus was trying to show us, because a man is supposed to be in the image of God, and everything God did, you're supposed to do for your wife. So he left to go prepare a place, just like a man go leave to build a house and to work for his wife. But he left something in us that we're comforted while he's gone. And he's been gone for 2,000 years. 2019 years, almost to be exact, that he's been gone, and his church has still been comforted without his presence, because he did more than have a presence there. The problem is that all you got is a presence. I hope y'all getting this. Amen. Well, it's midnight, so that's what I'm supposed to talk about. Watch this. Go to the book of John, chapter 14. Watch this. And 14. Now it starts about, I'm not talking about a man breaking himself and breaking his money, but I'm saying at least lowering that he can. It starts by this. This is where it starts, in verse 14 and 14, John 14 and 14. Look what it says. Let's give me, where's that other mic? Get that other mic. All right. Leo gonna read for me. Did y'all know Leo played the guitar too? Man, he was playing up that guitar today. He was playing up something. He gonna be playing. We got a surprise for y'all coming. Leo was playing the guitar. All right, you got it on running? All right, go ahead, Leo. Hold on, let's make sure you got it running. All right. Now listen to this, okay?
If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it.
Wait, first it starts how he's talking to the church. Listen how he's talking.
If ye
Listen,
shall,
if you ask me anything, I'll do it. That's the setup. That wife, those children must feel that if you ask them anything, you'll do it. Anything in my capability that I could do to make you happy, I'm going to try to do it. That's the first thing he put. If you ask me anything, that's saying something. That's making a person feel complete and secure. To know that. Children need to know that, huh? Y'all bear with me. Somebody says, well, I ain't got no husband. My children ain't got a father. That's fine. It's fine. Don't be afraid. Don't have no fit. Don't fall out. I'm going to cover all of that. But I want to work with the men first so that you'll know why you have some of the problem that you have. You ask me anything, I'll do it. Now, there's a difference in a woman being demanding and a woman commanding you and telling you to do something and asking. She's okay to ask you. And every now and then, the woman go through this emotional thing that she want to feel fulfilled, and she gonna ask you to do something stupid. Like, you'll go and get me something to drink. If you're too macho, you're gonna say, get it yourself. Every now and then she might ask you to buy this or get something. Every now and then your kids may ask you. I can remember, and what I learned to do is I learned to try to fill my children before I got empty, before they got empty. So, little old thing, you'd be surprised, man, how they would be missing me and didn't want, daddy, and I just take them real quick on a quick ride to the store, buy a piece of candy, and walk them on my feet. I'm rushing, going. I'm catching a plane. I gotta go, and just that little bit kept them for that little bit of while. That kept them. Okay, so that's the thing. It doesn't take as much as you think. It doesn't take as much time as you think. It's not the quantity of time. It's the quality of time. Because I didn't have the quantity to give. And I still don't have the quantity to give, and they're grown. I don't have the quantity sometimes, but it's the quality. You follow me? So that's what you got to get. That's what a man is. He got to provide all those areas. All right, look what he says.
if ye love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever.
I'm going to give you another comforter that he'll abide with you forever. All right, read.
Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive.
Now, do you know, and I want y'all to get this, do you know that there are people who have physically lost their husbands or their wives physically and are completely satisfied with never getting married again? And they're completely still in love with the person that physically left. They're physically left. Why? Because that person left them with something emotionally that outlasts them physically. So the person is gone physically, but they're still in love with them even though they're gone. because that person was there more than physically. So even though so it should be the same way with men that are out. You're working, you're gone. Men go go in the navies and all these different things there. If you can master being there, not just physically, but emotionally, conversation wise, all those things, it feels. So, and the Lord said, you shall be filled with the Holy Ghost. I mean, I'm going to move the board. I ain't going to leave you I'm going to leave you another comfort. Watch this.
Because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you and shall be in you.
He dwell with you and shall be what? So two things. Two things I want you to get. Listen to this. He dwell with you. Now this is important. You may be with your children. You may be with your wife. Are you in them? See, so you're supposed to be not just with them, but you're supposed to be in them. Jesus says, watch this. Listen to this. 14 and 11. 14 and 11. So we have relationships sometimes with physical, but we don't have relationships in. 14 and 11, look what it says. And I'm talking about men. I want to build men. 14 and 11, what does it say? Believe ye that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Not just I'm with him, but he's in me. Are you in your children? And are your children in you? Are you with your wife? And she's in you and you're in her. So we have a lot of relationships that are not in. And see, there's a difference between in and with. With means we're physically together. But in means that we are emotionally intertwined, intertwined. And that's a lot of things that we don't have with our children. We're with them, we're not in them. So I want to open this up to men so that you can see. And when women are asking for that and talking to you that, and it's not always the physical. See, it's not all. They're saying, I want you to be here. They're saying that because you're not there in other ways. Somebody asked me, because sometimes, man, Sister Scott and I, we're busy. She's busy, I'm busy. It's 2 or 3 weeks, I'm here on the road. My kids, I was always gone physically. Always. And that's with all 3 of my children from the time I was always. And to see, somebody asked, how do y'all have that bond? How do you have that closeness? I was gone half all their lives. But I sought to be in them and not just with them. So you got to try to build those relationships. Really do. And I want y'all to get it. And it's something that we didn't learn, we didn't get. And so, you know what? You know where I learned it from? I learned it from my mother. I'll talk about that. I learned it from my mother. And I'll tell you that so that you single mothers can understand how to do it. Because I was raised by a single mother without a father in the house, and I learned some things that I needed to do from watching her. And so I can help some of you ladies, get it and get it. And one of the first things, I'm going to go back, let me finish. Let's finish this. Let's read this, and then I'll come back. Read.
Whereas believe me for the very work's sake.
Believe me for the very work's sake.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye that believe on me, that the works that I do shall ye do also. And greater works shall these shall.
What verse you on? 12. Okay, I want you to go down to verse 18.
I will not leave you comfortless.
I will not leave you comfortless.
I will come to you.
Now, you know what Jesus said? I won't leave you comfortless. comfortless, I will come to you. Watch this. I won't leave you comfortless, I will come to you. Right? Now watch this. Watch the next verse.
Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more.
So, yet a little while, physically, I'm going to be gone. The world ain't going to see me no more. I won't leave you comfortless. I will come to you. So what does that mean? I'm leaving physically, but I will be there in another way that you don't see physically. So I'm gone where you can't see me. Yet a little while, the world see me no more. Watch. Read. But you see me. Why?
Because I live.
Because I live.
Ye shall live also.
Uh-huh.
At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you.
So this is why you won't be comforted, because in that day, when I'm gone physically, you will know that I'm in you, even though I'm physically gone. So you got the key? Physical presence gone, but yet the emotional and the mental and the spiritual presence is still there. So when you say you want to be a man, or you are a man, you're a man when you can master being somewhere spiritually and emotionally when you're not there physically. Now watch, this all plays in part, and that's what God wants you to be able to do. You know why he wants you to be able to do that? Because listen, because you're made in the image of God. And God has a presence and God has a spirit. He manifests himself as the Son of God in the flesh, but yet he's God in the spirit. And you don't see him in the flesh, but he's yet with us spiritual, and he wants you to learn how to master that because you're made in his image. Just like he's done with his bride, because he said, love your wife like Christ loves the church. He's mastered being the bride, being the husband. He's gone, and his spirit is keeping us comfort while his physical is gone, and you're made in his image, and that's what you're supposed to be doing. And until you can do that, you haven't become a man yet. Until you can physically be gone, because you've done so much there. You've done so much by when you were there physically, that when you're gone physically, you're not missed physically, because you've left enough of you there spiritually and emotionally that can maintain till your flesh come back. That's why Jesus can lead a church for 2019 years and come back and find him a bride, because he left something that he's sure is strong enough to take care of it. Y'all with me? Is making any sense? You got it? I want to make sure now. So, look at this. There's powerful scripture, the 14th chapter of John. We really don't see it, don't really look at it, but it's very powerful. And it's showing, and this is something you got to master, because a man got to work. If you don't work, you don't eat. And God leaves me this big contrast. And I had to learn that, because when we first got married, Mrs. Cowart couldn't understand. It was better for her to understand because her daddy worked at the mine. It was. And when you got a mine job and you did that. But I watched certain things, I saw certain things. And when we were talking, it's very rare I would see her daddy. And if he was there, he was in the bed, sleeping, trying to get up for, things he was doing. But man, I watched him, and my mother-in-law is just crazy about him. She in love with him. And he was working. But what it was, the thing was, is he was so there for whatever she needs. Anything that the cars would be washed. Some of y'all shaking head now, because anything she act like she won't. Well, he understands he has to do that. And they ain't talking about physically and money. Most women ain't gold diggers. There are some now. There are some. But I learned that quick. If you get a gold, they ain't got to dig for it. Well, them sisters are shaking their head now. I need to come back on the women's center to make sure y'all get y'all. but that's this now. This shouldn't be a gold digger, but that's how you kill that. You kill that by not waiting for them to be deprived to ask. So I learned, and this is what we do. We don't know it. As men, we don't know it. And different ones, we don't know it. We like to feed our children when they cry for it. But as a man, you should be able to see, because this is what we do. We feed people when they're hungry. And you're supposed to be feeding them to prevent them from getting hungry. Because when you get hungry, you want more and you eat more. I found that out. I went, I start really hurting myself because I go to the store when I'm hungry and I be buying all kind of stuff. And I mean, I fill my basket up. You go to a restaurant or whatever, you go to ordering. So I learned, don't wait till I get hungry to go get it because I'm going to want more. Don't wait till your children and family get hungry because they want more. Look at them and kind of tell when they're getting that way and put them. So that's the man's job. That's what you have to master. That's what you have to look at. So what is man? What is man? Man is what is a responsibility? Okay. Let me say this. First of all, let me get some question on what I just talked about. Anybody got a question or comment? Nobody have a question or comment? So now my goal should be different. What should my goal be now? My goal should be not just to be a provider, but now that I understand what a man should be doing, then I need to be finding out, am I doing, now how do I master all of these, Pastor? How do I do that? What do I need to do? How do I need to provide that? Because in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, I'm going to tell you all this, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. It's about being conscious and being aware and being educated. It's about being educated. And sometimes since Kyle and I was having some real serious, when we first got married, about the second year of marriage, man, we were having some serious problems. And the Lord told me this, and I'll never forget. He said, I want you to get a book on women. Not a book about women. It was a book that was particularly for women. And when I read the book, I read it, I put it in my Bible so people wouldn't see. They wouldn't nobody think I was funny. I had that book, and Cowart, she finally said, "What you doing reading a book like that? Why would you have a book like that about women?" I said, "I got it because I'm trying to learn you. Because I do things like a man." And she suggested something the other day because I'm writing a book, A Man with Issues. I wrote the one on woman with issues. She said, it would be good if the women got the men book and the men got the women book. And so what happened is in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, men, this is an assignment. That you need. 1 Corinthians 7. And 32. 1 Corinthians 7 and 32. All right? Read it.
But I would have you without carefulness.
I would have you without carefulness.
He that is unmarried care for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married cares for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife.
How he may please his wife. So there's got to be a study on what pleases, and stop figuring out. It makes it difficult when you're trying to figure it out. It's better just to ask. So take a list. Say, what pleases you? What is it that pleases you? And then find out. You take the time to find out how to do it. And then ask yourself, And this is what I had to find out. When Sister Kyle was telling me, she said, I need I need more time. She's begging for time. We need time. I found out it wasn't more time that she needed. It was to feel fulfilled and wanted. And once she felt fulfilled and wanted, the time wasn't really the issue. She, you know how somebody is hungry and they don't know what they're hungry for, but they know they want something. So a woman can be hungry and asking for the wrong thing. She's asking for the wrong thing. She's asking for time, but it ain't time because when I looked at it and you look at it, you be in the house 8, 10 hours a day, and she's still talking about I want time. I mean, you sitting there and you sleeping behind it. Just, I want time. She don't want time. She want to feel valued. So this is what we do. I'm giving enough time. How you want to get time? I'm working 8 hours a day. When I'm coming home, I'm tired. You talking about I want time? That's not it. That's not it. That's what she calling it. Cause she don't know what it is she want. That's what she call. That's the best way. What she want is somebody that showing her that you do care, cause she empty. Okay. So I can prove it ain't time. I can prove that. Okay. You let her be hollering about, I want time, baby. I want time. And you come home and set about $500 on that table. And say, baby, you can go shopping. Some don't, some do, but most of them be like, you sat up there and you say, I want time. You say, oh wait, baby, we can spend some time. So I learned, and some women really want the value of time, but it's not a lot. It's just so I noticed something. This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. And it taught me what it really was, what she needed. Okay, so I'm on the phone talking to somebody, and they're talking to me about a problem. No, I'm talking. She said, I just tried to talk to you 5 minutes ago, and you said you was busy, but you said on the phone there 30 or 40 minutes with one of your friends. Okay. It wasn't time. She wanted to feel valued and just as valued as they were. So then I understood it. It's a value thing that she having a problem with. It's an issue of wanting to feel value. And that's in most women. Delilah was playing with Samson saying, you say you love me and you won't tell me your secrets. What she wanted? She wanted to feel valued in his life. Y'all with me? Is making any sense? So if you can find out what pleases her, and sometimes she don't even know what pleases her herself, she don't know how to communicate it. She don't know how to communicate it. So what happens is we're misunderstanding because she's miscommunicating what she wants. Because the time, to be honest with you, if you gave her that time, like all that time you want, you stay there about 3 weeks, just staying there all the time, give her all that time, then she'd be like, well, when you ain't going nowhere, don't you need to leave? So I got it. That make any sense? So it's a nature. It's a nature. What she needs to do is feel valued, feel wanted. Now, how do I master that? Then, if I'm a single mother and I got a child, and that child has those empty spaces in their life. First of all, let me tell you this. I can talk about it. Because I don't feel void at all. I don't feel void at all. First of all, you have to be careful what you point in your child's ear to make them feel that they're deprived. That's the one thing. And my mother never made me feel deprived. Even when I started feeling like I was deprived, she made sure that I understood I wasn't deprived. So I didn't grow up. There are those times I had those little spells. I had those little times. But what she wouldn't do is let me look at a home that had the husband and wife and a child and look at my house as if it was different than that. That's the thing. Sometimes as women, what hurts us don't really hurt our children. We're hurting for them and they're not even hurting. But what we do, we transpose that on them. The average child can be happy, they can play, they can enjoy themselves without anybody there. They can enjoy themselves. But if they hear us talking or they see us happen in a certain way, or they see us depressed or they see us crying, it transposes on them. Now, two things that's very important. I'm going to say one thing, I'm not going to give the other one that's very important, is that, and especially when you got daughters, men too, but particularly daughters. They talk about the men that are alive and are not there. Never, ever, if that man is not there, never let them hear you run him down for him to be there, or make them feel like they got to run him down for him to be there, or they become women that feel that that's the way to attract the man that you got to chase and that you got to run behind it. Now, my dad, I think he had a pretty decent relationship with my sisters because they had gotten older, you know. But as for me, there's a point that I got, and my mother never, ever made me, like, call your daddy, tell your daddy you want to come over there. Never. Never. That helped me. Never. You know why? Because when I instill that in them, that's the way to do it, then that becomes their way that they feel like you got to do. You got to be. So if he didn't ask for me, which he didn't, I wasn't taught to go and ask him for that. I wasn't. Women sometimes, you do it, especially in relationships that are outside of wedlock, women themselves force their children on the man, and the children hear that. You need to come get Danisha. And get Dandra too. We come up with all kind of names. Okay? And then they hear this. You ain't got this boy, you ain't got this girl in 6 weeks. You need to come, and the child hearing the conversation the whole time. You know what that's doing? That's telling them that's the way that you have to go to approach. You're teaching them a bad lesson, terrible lesson. And that's what we pushing us sometimes. And so the woman had a child outside of wedlock. The child is there. She calling the daddy. And then it's very hard if you got a male that's already in the present. The male is already there, like he's not providing that. Why should you have to even go beg for the guy to do something for a child? You got a man in the house. If he's not begging for it, leave it alone. You're depriving them. Especially if the children got good fathers, good grandparents. Sometimes grandparents, my grandfather fulfilled a lot in my life. And to be honest with you, it wasn't until I got older that I became, that I started getting angry and seeing all that with my father. It wasn't until I got older because, to be honest with you, when I was coming up, my grandfather played kickball with me. My grandfather did that. So as I started getting older and found out what a typical family was supposed to be, that's when I really started getting angry. So, and by that time, I figured I had a right to get angry. I didn't get angry with my daddy because my mama. That sure didn't happen. Because I ain't never heard her say nothing bad about it. Sometimes I was mad because she didn't say, why you didn't tell me my daddy was sorry? She ain't said nothing. I never heard it out of her mouth, but so that kept me secure. So I wasn't. So it's a different. You got to really do that with your. Don't let them hear you running them down, asking for this and that. That's the most. That's you're killing them. You're killing them. That's murder. And then even in front of you that you have children that the father is in the home. Go ask your daddy, can you go with him? Now you know the man may be busy and going to. He said, no. They're getting rejected. And you shouldn't ask that. You don't have a busy man. And some of y'all do it just to do it. Because you know, I need a break. Go ask your dad. Now that's wrong. Because now you're saying you don't want him. And the dad is saying they don't want him. You make the child feel rejected. So there's certain questions you don't ask in front of the daddy and the mother. Because the man may say no. But 9 times out of 10, if he's a busy man, and sometimes you don't want to be aggravated, which I'm trying to help y'all work on now by telling you what you should be doing. But here go the child and then go ask your daddy, can you go with him? Daddy, mama say, can I go with you? No, I just got home. Stand there. Well, now, they stand there. They get on Facebook, and the daddy hanging out with the brothers. Now the mama done set the child up to make the child feel a certain way, rejected about men. Y'all wrong. Don't be asking those questions. You know the man. That's like you somebody coming up to me in front of everybody, in front of the saints, and you hungry and got that. Pastor, can I have $100? My family need to be fed, and we hungry. We got. That puts me in a position. If I say no, then other people around say, "Ooh, man, they nasty. They've seen the members need something." And you don't ask questions like that in front of them, the fathers. And some of y'all know y'all doing it. Just set it up, and then guess what? You get the little child when they get to. That's all right, baby. You can stay with mama. Trying to get you really you politic and you don't do that. That's wrong. But you're teaching them something. You're putting something, and then you're putting the animosity against men and the animosity against the fathers. So you don't do that. Don't ask them in front of them. Your daddy say you can't go with him. That ain't never happened. Never. When it's come down to things like that, and Sister Kyle know our bitch say, hey, let me ask you something, baby. You mind if you take the girls, go get their hair done, take DJ? I think we probably need a little time. So, well, baby, so just take a little bit of time. And then she saved me and helped me. She said, look, if you're not able to do it, she said, I know you're busy. If my phone be ringing. I know you're busy, but remember you told them you're going to take them such and such. If it ain't but a few minutes, you go by and then I take up the slack and I go and get them. Because you understand, I'm working. And sisters, it ain't my night to talk to you, but y'all need to understand that. Men, if you understand how to make yourself present when you're absent, and women, if you understand how to make excuse for that absence by glorifying the work that he does, when it's honest that when he's doing that, and you can do that when he puts in. You can say, hey, your daddy is working. He keeps the lights on. He keeps the water on. And then you in turn provide when you're there. Sometimes I would be tired. I would be wore out. I just go do what I have to do. So, mother, it's a working thing. But you're hurting the girls. You're hurting them. Then you hurt the boys because now the boys see their fathers as men that are not to be connected with family. And so they follow that trend because they see it as not to be connected with family. And they see that as choices, that the choices you make, that other people are above your family. Don't get me wrong, I make sacrifices, and I make those sacrifices, but it was taught to my children why I make those sacrifices, and they could understand. So it wasn't that bitterness against the church and bitterness against them, because it was perfectly understood, and that's important. And then when you got predicaments where you got young ladies who have children, have no fathers there. Some of y'all are actually, you know, Jazz, you're raising a son. I have a few more that's raising children that are single. Sister Kizzy. Um, you must instill in them what a family is. And when I really realized, and right now I go back, I'm 47 years old. 3 more years, actually 2 more years, I'll be almost old as Brother Ronnie Jones. But by the time I get there, he be done went to another level. But listen to this. I wouldn't trade my childhood for nothing. If I had the choice to go back and be raised the way that I was raised, without a father in the house, I could live it. I could live it. But I enjoyed it. I'm not depressed. I'm very happy. And I didn't miss that unit. There was those stages, like I told y'all, when I saw people going to ball games and stuff like that, I cried, I got enough. But my mother she never petted that. She never, I told y'all, I'll never forget, I was in there, I was crying one day, and I told her, I'm sad. Why you sad, boy? Well, they ain't got no daddy. Everybody else, Jesus is your daddy. Oh, come on. I said, but what about when I learn about the birds and the bees? You gonna learn about them birds and bees. You gonna get it. Don't worry. Ain't nobody got to teach you. What you want to know about birds and bees? I know. Birds fly, bees sting. What else? Oh Lord, Mama, she wouldn't give me no. She wouldn't give me no break at all, cause she would not. Don't make sure you don't let your depression become their depression. Your heaviness become their heaviness. Because sometimes you don't have, you want to feel it, and you'll put it on them, and they'll start feeling it. They'll start acting in it. You'll transfer your spirit of depression and your spirit of heaviness on the children, and then they'll start feeling it, right? Don't ask them. There's certain questions you don't ask them. Don't ask them, how you feel not having no daddy. That may wake it up. Wait till they come and ask you. Don't have those. You talk to them about being, hey, you be strong. Be strong. Look what mama doing. Look, that's how you deal with it. And show them you're happy. The key element. There's a certain age that your children gonna know. They're gonna get to that age, they're gonna know you ain't happy. And when they see you ain't happy, they're learning that you're supposed to be sad if you ain't got a man. That's true. Right now, I realize something that I didn't know. And it hurt me every time I think about it. I feel like crying. My grandmother was depressed and I didn't even know it because I was a child. She was. I went to Ghana, Brigham, and Albert. Because when my mom was working she worked right in the yard where Albert was, and so her house the lady's house was next to Albert, so I went to Albert. And so when I went to Albert, in order for me to go to Albert, I had to stay with my grandmother for a certain amount of while. You know how you work that out. My grandma was there, so I stayed with grandma, and that's where I stayed all of my school year, but the 3rd and 4th grade. I stayed with my grandmother. 3rd and 4th grade. I thought my grandma was sick. When my grandma was dealing with depression, because I told you about my grandfather. I can probably count on my two hands the time I've ever seen my grandma go out of the house. And when I seen my grandma go out of the house, it was mostly to go to the doctor and back in the house. And all she had two places that she walked from. And it makes me sad when I think about it now, because now I know she was dealing with depression. She had a window, she had a bed in the back window that was connected to what my granddaddy, it was real close to what my granddaddy's grove was. And then there was a bed in the front, on the front porch that she laid in. She was between one or two of them. I didn't see her sit up a lot. And that's for years. I didn't hear, every now and then I heard her laugh, about different things. But she was depressed. And now I know what depression is. And when I looked at it, my grandmother's, my children are born healthy. I don't think they're born with mental problems. But I had aunts, 3 or 4 aunts, who had mental issues and different things that they were dealing with. I think they dealt with that because they saw the way my grandmother responded. And they knew, I guess at the time, why my grandmother was like that. So it's important that you live a happy life in front of your children or you're going to kill them. You do more damage to your children than the estate and that person not being there. You do more damage. You do more damage by how they see you acting, how they see you responding. I never heard my mother say, "Oh, I need a man," and if we had a man, I never seen her complain about her status. And then she was, I've never ever. What you see with my mother now is what you see with what I seen. Period. With 5 of us. 5 of us, 5 children, and all of my brothers, my brother and my sister. I'm the only one. They're about a year to you. All of them are a year to 2 years apart. I'm the only one that's 8 years different. It's 8 years between me and my baby sister, Amita. It's 8 years, and never seen it. Never heard it. So you have to display that. Men, I pray and hope that you can fulfill those things, and you should fulfill what you feel. Even you men that have children that are outside of wedlock, don't let your wife keep you from your children that's outside of wedlock. If she is, she's evil and full of the devil. Because those children don't deserve to have their self deprived because of the mistakes and errors that was made previously. Y'all agree? How many of y'all agree? And so I think that's very important. Any question? Any question? Yes, ma'am. Nikki?
I don't really too much deal with my father. But he'll try and do the little pop-ups where like he pops up. So I kind of like, let it be known that I didn't want that for my kids because I knew how that was for me growing up.
Well, I think that's a good question. I think there are things that we can teach people that are inconsistent behavior. My mom never forced me to go with my dad because at the point I ain't really want to go there. It's more damaging for a man or a woman, because some men are raising their children as well, to go in and out of a person's life than probably just to not be there at all. And most grandparents know that. They'll take up the slack. Them grandparents, when they find out what's going on, they're going to get those kids, the good one, and they're going to minister to them, and they'll tell you, stop running behind that sorry nigga, we'll take care of him. It'll be the grandparents who get in the paperwork that say, you know what, I tell you what, he don't want to do what he supposed to do, we going to do it. We going to take care of it. They'll do it. because a lot of them realize when it comes down to that inconsistency, and the fight generally is not with the women. The fight a lot of times come with the grandmothers who's trying to say, hey, stop chasing that Negro down. Don't send them children over there. If they don't want them over there, don't send them over there. Don't beg them. That's what happened. So that inconsistency, though, that inconsistency, I think you do as a person, as a parent, say, listen, this inconsistency stuff, we can't have it because you're messing them up. But you make sure it's done in a way that as the child get older, they can't lie and tell the child something different. Because what people will do is that they'll be inconsistent, and you know the story. So say your messages, save your conversations. You'll get up because you know the story, but that child won't know. And people seem to change when they get old. Oh no, I wanted it. I used to tell your mama, come on now, pray over there, but she never. Your mama, I don't know, because what happened when we was young. Your mama kept away from me and all that kind of stuff. I tried to visit you, but your mama wouldn't. I tried all that kind of, all that. So you have to protect yourself. So guess what? You know what's gonna start happening? They say that thing out of sight is out of mind. Once that child start healing and developing without that grandparent, the grandparent, now they're gonna be yippity 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 yippity. But then when the grandparent gonna say, hey, can such and such come over? And that child say, oh no, I don't come over. Then they done develop and they done got it. That's what you do. Because generally, like grandparents like that, people like that, what they generally do, and we're talking about grandparents, what they generally do, when they come, they always come with gifts. They come with little things, cheap gifts. It may be because kids go crazy over anything. You can get a baby doll you can get a Dollar Tree baby doll, and they be flipping like it. But when they get to that age, that Dollar Tree baby doll run out, because they know it. They know they're wrong. That's why when they everything that you can't give, it's a position. Because as a parent, and you got what, 4? You got 4, 5. As a parent, you got 5. That thing that you and Terry can't give that child. It's not the mother's. Let me say this, it's not the grandparents' parent responsibility to take care of your children, but they should try to be in that child's life. My children have a relationship with their grandparents that's really solid. They still do for them. But if when you got 5, I'm gonna use you as a mother. So you and Terry just going wild, and y'all too. If you got 5 and Terry ain't got no responsibility, he can give them what you can't. That's the pleasures. You have to give them the necessities. So your children, if I ask your children, do you want green beans or McDonald's, they're going to choose McDonald's. If I ask them, do you want lights in the house or you want a bicycle, they want a bicycle. So they're going to appreciate him more than they appreciate you, even though you do more, until they get older and they get their own bills. And when they get older and get their own bills, it's going to last until they get older and get their own bills, and they go back and realize, wait a minute, my mama was paying all these bills by herself, and I got a husband, and we haven't struggled, man. My mama's some kind of woman. I came to the conclusion when I got older, and we were having struggles. I called my mama one day. I said, man, I really love you. She said, well, you love me? You always tell me. I said, no, I love you for real. I said, I love you 2 times. She said, what? I do, mama. I love you 2 times. So I said, because me and Lisa, we having a struggle paying these bills. And you had, we got 3. At that time, it was only 2. Tay and DJ, and I'm saying, how in the world did you do that by yourself? Then it gave me a different appreciation and a different love. So that's what gets you angry, And that's what it get her. You'll be angry to the point like, well, man, why they doing all that celebrating your granddad or whatever? I'm here all the time. They're like, I want to go with my granddad. I want to go with my granddad. And then you sitting up there, you sitting up there, you like a little bit of jealousy. All I do for you. You want to you want to go with me or your granddad? I want to go with my granddad. I want to go with my granddad. And they come around once. They come around once, like the General Assembly. Them called General Assembly parents. Follow me? That makes sense. But see, you got to give them time to grow out of it. You got to give them time to see what real bills are. You got to give them time to see how much the baby doll costs, how much the lights cost, and the water costs. Once they do the math, they get older because they can't count now. But when they do that math, they're going to add it up. They're going to add it up. Yes, ma'am.
So it's not wrong to not want the people that were supposed to be involved in your life. Cause my grandma, she would do that. Like she would tell me to call like my father's side, and I wouldn't want to, cause I'm like, why are you telling me to call them? And then she'll make me feel bad for.
You came to that conclusion on your own. I think that's a conclusion. I understand parents, because this is the thing. You shouldn't teach your children to force a relationship on nobody that don't want a relationship with them. Don't force them, because you're teaching them that's the way to be friend people. You got to run them down for a relationship. That should be. If you don't, first of all, as a child, it's not the child's responsibility to run down an adult to ask them to be in their life, because the child didn't ask to be here. So that should never be your responsibility. Never. I had a parent, and that boy loved his daddy. I mean, loved him. Facebook and them phones, them things done created some problems. Because the daddy was living out of town. He come to town. When he come to town, the child wouldn't even know that the daddy done came to town at all. Done came to town. Everybody know he around. Pictures on everywhere. People talking. And then the daddy ain't even come seeing the child. Mom pick up the phone and say, you was in town this week? Yeah. You ain't come by and see me? Oh, I ain't have no way. That was you ain't no way. Well, you ain't no way. But you got a way over to your best friend's house. You got a way over there. Now, let me tell you, I've had to pray for children, talk to children to get them over there, and they came to those conclusions themselves. And when you get to that conclusion, the sad thing about it, this is the sad thing about it, and this is what hurts the most. It ought to hurt the man, but it don't even hurt them. Even when they get older, it ought to hurt them. So I would think once you get old enough, and so I'm 20 or 30 or whatever, that you would now say, hey, why don't you, I want to see cause see, this is how you really tell what it is, okay? This is how you tell what it is. 18, 19, ages like that, 18, 19, you see those ages like 18, 19, you find issues. You say, your mama, but when that child get a certain age, what they got to do with your mama now? The child 18, can't you say, hey, where you at? Your mammy wasn't no good. I'm sorry, I'm just saying that. That's what he gonna say though. If he really mad, he gonna say something like that. But now, you on your own, I'm gonna reach out to you, I'm gonna deal with you. I gotta, I'm not gloating in your wrong, son. You shouldn't have to not read. I'm not gloating in that. But I gotta commend the fact that a lot of times, and I've heard you, I've seen you have your daughter. You're trying to make sure And I watched you trying to, the other day she was out there, you don't know nothing about doing no hair, no shoes, and no bows like that. But you around there looking fine and something. Hey sister, I think you asked this Cowart or something one day. Somebody guys go get the stove, go get some shoes or something. Huh? So Dave, what you guys go get? Yeah, I know you can't, but I'm saying the point of the fact that you sitting here and you got men that's married with their wife won't do that. They're married with their wife. So that's important that you do that, and she gonna remember that. Yeah, well, just yeah. So that's the point that I'm making. Everybody understand that? Any more questions or comments? Yes, ma'am. Right. That's on them. That child gonna see it later. They're gonna see it later. They're gonna see it later. So what she said, what if you leave all the doors of communication so the parent and the two parents don't have to talk? The child is old enough that they can talk to the child, and they still don't come. Be it known to that child. See what you do. Be it known to that child. Your daddy got the phone number. He can always communicate. It was his choice. Don't ever put it into a position where it can see that it wasn't. And don't you ever do anything to block it. Don't ever do anything to block it. If it call them, don't ever do anything to block it because it'll backfire on you. It'll backfire on you. And then another thing you have to do too is, and men good at it, sometimes women are good at it too. They good at knowing the right time to act. It's in the middle of say a family reunion or middle of a convention, and they know they ain't going nowhere because they're in the convention. You follow what I'm saying? Oh, can I want to get something just for a convention? Man, we holy. Can I buy them something for Christmas? Come on, you know we don't believe in Christmas. You follow what I'm saying? Or you got you got I mean, some parents on drugs. We're gonna be over Maybelline house. Now we ain't going over Maybelline. Maybelline drinking, she high and all that, so they know how to ask the right question to put you in a position where you saying no and it look like you're saying no. So you have to go back and correct that. And then, but don't let him see you asking or begging father to come at all. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, you mean they're absent, but they're still present? I mean, they still there, not present in their life. Well, when I'm saying present absent, there's two ways I'm saying it. Present absent means they're present in the house, but they still ain't got no emotional tie. Or it can be absent outside of the house, but yet they have their presence with right, because they ain't there physically and ain't there. Right. Get you. Well, I think if they're not there physically and they're not doing what they're supposed to do to fulfill their needs, they're absent. If they're not there. But see, the thing is, and I'm gonna tell you something. This young lady there, and this is what you have to continue to remind her. She has become what she is without that person there, that father. And that's what you keep boosting and pushing. This young lady is a praying young lady. You go back and remind her of all her accomplishments that she has done. Look at the stuff that she's accomplished. Look at the stuff that she's done. And you remind yourself of that because sometimes you need that. Because every now and then you'll look at and don't highlight this. This is what happened too. As a single mother, you have to remember this. If one of them cut up, the first thing gonna happen, Jamie cut up. He cut up. If they had a dad in there, somebody they wouldn't be doing that. Listen, you got people with 2 kids and the children in jail. Mama and daddy. And the devil will highlight that, think that they're doing that. Kids bad, I don't care how many parents they got. You got a parent, a mama, the granddaddy, and the whole church. They still cutting up. So that don't mean that they cutting up because they got, now watch. This is a difference. This is a difference. Now, my brother went to jail one time in his life. He was out. I got a brother, president, and I love my brother. I'm not saying anything bad about him, who had my father and his mother there. He's getting out soon for murder. But he had my father and my mother. I only had my mother. And some of my other, and I'm not downing them now, please don't get me wrong, but those are the things that a mother have to deal with and look at. So my mother could go back and say, wait a minute. So if I cut up or I show out, that the first thing start coming in the woman like, oh, they probably cutting up because their dad ain't here. No, they cutting up because they bad. The Bible says foolishness is bound in the heart of the child. Oh, I wonder if they're just bad. So that's the point. But then you sitting with all these depressing stage that I've got to raise these children by myself. Look, how come they cut up? Because if they only had a daddy, they wouldn't be doing it. No. My sisters had father and mother, and they still cut up. So get that out your spirit. Get that out your mind. Right? Any other question? Yes, ma'am. All right, I'm gonna get caught.
And you are open to having a relationship, but you still feel like the child is the one that is having to do like he wants to be around, but in order for us to hang, I have to go and see him. Like,
well, first, this is the thing that has to be seen. The parent needs to see that you're the one that need to make up for the loss, not the child. Because you hurt me even more now as an adult. You're doing the same thing to me as an adult that you did with me as a child. And then another thing that parents have to realize, and this is very important, is that if you're somebody that have not been in your child's life, you can't come in as a parent. You can't come in as a parent. You don't come in making demands and talking about, oh, you don't talk to me like that. I'm your daddy. Well, really, in my eyes, you're really not, because you ain't been there. And the minute we sit down and get together, the first thing you want to do is tell me, I'll beat your behind. You talk to me like that. You gonna beat my behind. You ain't never beat my behind before. You don't even know what my behind look like. What you done? Did you ever wipe my behind? You don't even know if I got a behind. And so you can't say, and I had a brother did this, I never forget, he had been in jail 14 years. He busted in the house, his wife in his relationship, I guess, I guess it was fine. He busted in the house. His mom said, your daddy here. And he just looked. And this is what he said. He said, that's my daddy. And then he said, H no. That's what he said. And got up and left. He grabbed that boy. You little punk nigga. That's what he says. Don't you ever. So he came to me. He told me. He was mad and upset. And they came and I sat down and talked with them. And I got him in the office right there with him. I said, you're not his daddy. So he looking like, oh, what's up? So you're not his daddy. You're not. And this is what I told him. I said, you can't go and come in nobody's life that you done went and let your crime take 14 years away from this child and come back and making demands. I said, you got to come as a friend and build that relationship. And I said, the fact is, you may not ever be his daddy. But you need to work to try to at least to remain get a relationship so you can have a relationship because at 25 and 30 years old, you don't need nobody coming telling you what to do. When I needed you to tell me what to do was when I was too young to know what to do. But now I don't need you to tell me what to do. You didn't raise me, so you got to come. But that macho, that ego, that pride, that male pride says, I'm your daddy. Why? Because you laid on top of my mama and she got her stomach big, you my daddy? That ain't make you my daddy. So you go and build a relationship. I didn't see my daddy as my daddy. I didn't. I called him Amos. That's what I said. You know, all those kind of things. And he knew that. That's the one thing that I have to say. He knew that. And he understood that. So when my father dealt with me, he dealt with me, and my dad was a man. He was a I mean he was a fighter. He did, but when he dealt with me, he didn't deal with me like he did with everybody else. He said, Clay, and he said, I remember my father would say, we was even talking one time. He said, yes, sir. He told me that. I said, wow. So he was trying to feel his way around. He was trying to feel his way. So he respected me as a pastor. And then because of the way he approached me and the way we had that one talk when he explained to me his past and what brought him there. Because he knew that I didn't have that love or care for him as a father. And in the hospital bed when he was in Kissimmee, not when he died, that was years before. Y'all told y'all that story. He knew it. He could feel it. He could feel that I didn't know how to hug him. I didn't know how to embrace him. I didn't know how to deal with him. He said, listen, he said, at first, he said, I want you to know that it was probably good for me that I was not there in your life as a father because look at the product that you became. He said, had I been there, I probably would have corrupted your life. He said, he said, it may not matter, but I want to explain to you how I was raised. And if you understand how I was raised, and he told me that he didn't know really was his father. He had seen so many things that had transpired in his life. At 5 and 6 years old, his mother then would go work and leave him home by himself. So he didn't know none of those things. And he said, had I really known, I would have did different. So he ain't come with no pushing. When my daddy came with me then I could understand all that animosity and hatred that I had. I was able to deal with it. But this is the way my daddy dealt with me. He dealt with me as if he was the wrong. He did not point any, because this is the thing. Don't you go point fingers at my mama and call my mama son, and men to do that. Calling your mama, you gonna turn them against, because she done raised me and been there when you ain't, and you gonna call my mama a hoe and call my mama this and call my mama that. Wait a minute. The hoe raised me. And the hoe mama wasn't there. Seriously. Because that's the first thing they're attacking. And the reason they're doing that is because they're so guilty about what they haven't done, they want to tear down the other side to make themselves look good. So don't hear it. I tell the children that don't hear it. Y'all know it. Don't hear it. So you trying to build a relationship. You know, man, your mama was. She was. Listen, that ain't got nothing to do. I don't know what mama was, but they ain't got nothing to do with you being here. That's right. Because all they gonna do is turn that child against you. My daddy told me, he said, I ain't got nothing to say about your mama. He said, your mama was a holy, saved woman. She said, she helped us. She said, I came from a bunch of heathens. I said, he said, your mama turned us around when she died. She said, your mama is responsible. She said, my grandfather them started a church in the house because of my mother. And that church is still up there today in Rochester, New York. So he gave me history, he told me talk. And once he came with that peace flag, it turned my whole view of him differently. And I saw him different. And there's never been at all any tension and fight between me and my siblings, both outside and in. That was never there. That never exists. All right? There's another one. Jazz, you had your hand up, and then Tim. Yes, ma'am.
How long parent continue to lie to your child. Like if um, he'll call him and I will do this and I'm going to do this, but my son's steady waiting at the
Well, let don't down talk him. Let him see him as a liar. Let him see him as a liar. Let them come to the conclusion. Don't tell them nothing. Don't give him no explanation. Don't give him no words. Don't say nothing. If he say he gonna come, he don't come. Don't let him come. Say he gonna do it, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't add no take away to it. See, let him hang himself. Just let him do whatever. Say he don't want to come. Let him tell him, I'm gonna come. Don't get on the phone. Nigga, don't tell him if you ain't coming. Now, if you ain't coming, don't tell him. I'm tired of you. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Then they gonna start sin. And once they start sin, then they'll start. And don't you force it the other way. Just be neutral. All right, all right.
You had the parent, when you have both of the parents, now one is absent. What do you do to the younger siblings that they don't have? They just have that one, that one parent.
Sometimes older siblings need to talk to the parents and let the parent know the importance. Have a good father, son, whatever conversation that the older parent understand what the responsibility and what it was. Let them know, look, I appreciate you, but now you got to see all the responsibility. You have to be the glue and the bridge in the gap. Yes, sir.
When sons start getting in trouble and their mama be like, well, they done did all they can do for a fact because a woman can only teach you so much, but that father has to teach you the rest of it. Okay, when they start looking for that attention and they start getting in trouble, they're going to jail or whatever.
Let me just correct something. I do believe a woman can teach you so much, but she can teach you enough to get you wrong in your life. We want those males. We need those males, and I think you should. What you mean? They wanting the attention of the father, and they're doing things because they want the attention. They're doing things because they want the attention. Right. I understand. Yeah, and that's true. So, what do you know when how do you know when the children are doing things to get the attention and they're not getting the attention? But then that parent, just like I told you about how the husband can leave something in that wife, and she doesn't know. You understand what I'm saying? That you won't even notice it there. The mother can put enough in there in that child and give that child an attention itself that the child won't miss it. But most times the mother becomes frustrated when the child becomes frustrated. And when the mother becomes frustrated, when the child is frustrated, the mother and the child discuss their frustrations together. Sometimes, not against some badges. I don't know why he ain't come. I don't know. I done told you that was when. That's when you take the time, you take your children, and you pour into them and let them know that they are not missing anything. I didn't miss a birthday. Back then they were celebrating Christmas. I ain't missed none of that. It was pagan. I didn't miss my grades. When I made good grades, she did it. And so there were things that, and I tell you this, I seen a young man the other day playing a sport and didn't have a gun, didn't have a, he was playing. He's catching. He has learned how to adjust without his arm, and he's happy in playing sports. You teach your child how to adjust and have the same activity on the field with a missing arm. God tells us, if your right hand offend you, cut it off. Learn how to walk with a broken arm. Learn how to do it. Yes, sir. Cut his mic up, Ronnie.
I would tell them that I was coming to get them. What their mother started did, and I admired their mother, but they would come to me and they would tell me, they wouldn't let me, they say, don't tell your kids anything before it's come to get them. You relate that between me and you. That way, if you lie about it, It'll only be between me and you. I never let them know. Your daddy say he coming to get you. Your daddy will be to do this, do that. So that's how I was able. Pretty soon my country started, you know, messing with
That's a good. That's a pretty good approach. Versus that is. That's a good approach versus, being able to have the child disappointed. You have a conversation yourself and tell them, listen, that's a good approach. That is good. Huh? Tell his wife. If she don't talk to you, tell her. Well, and try to develop a relationship with her and tell her, say, listen, I'm not gonna deal with him about and if she doesn't, fine, you've done your job. But if at all possible and is able to do that, then I think that's a good way to handle it.
And one more thing, I never down my kids' mothers. Mothers are very important. I mean, I was a child support king. I mean, I paid some child support. I always had in my mind that this child support took care of my kids, but it's not enough. And you have to look at these mothers with these daughters and sons. As a father, we're not there what they call about the custodial parent. So it takes a lot for a single mother, even if she got an outside man or whatever, to support a child. I can honestly say none of my children never been without lights. They may have moved around a little bit, but mama was always there. I was the one who wasn't there. I was out doing my own thing. So I couldn't get bitter or upset at her because of the situation that I was in. I had to find myself first and learn how to deal with myself before I could deal with her or even deal with my children.
And that's a powerful statement from coming somebody that's been in the boat. So that's very important because that's true. That's true. Yes, ma'am.
Daddies don't want nothing to do with the kids unless they can be with the mama. And then with one of my sons, the mama only wants a relationship with the daddy. I mean, this generation is so.
Well, I think you have to lay those guidelines out. Number one, I think you have to lay them out. I'm not no bait. I'm not a bait for my child. My child's not a bait. I think that you lay that out plain. And when you see that's going on, then you get an in between to deal with it. That's right. You just get an in between. So okay, this is going through. That's like Jesus said, "No man come to the Father but by me." No, that's how you put it out there. Put it like the book said. Oh yeah, yeah. No man. That's right. Yeah. There's one mediator between you and this child, me. That's how you have to do it. I agree. I agree. Sometimes it has to be on those terms. And I think if you're married, it should be on those terms. Period. I think if you're married, you got an outside child. That should be the terms that it is. If that man shouldn't be calling your house, asking to speak to you. You got a husband, you need to be calling and asking to speak to your husband. That's a very uncomfortable place for a man to be in. This is somebody you done slept with, you done been with in your life, and he's calling to talk to you. And I don't care what you say. Well, it ain't like that. I don't care. If it was like that before, it could go back there again, and me and you could be sitting there like arguing, and you have a flashback. So no, you want to come? I am the way. Oh if they need to step in, then they step in. Yeah, man, you get on, say, hey, no, hey, intercept that call. Hey, hey, here go my husband. Hey, what's going on? All right, okay, that's fine. You want to come get him with? I think we got we got something going on, but that's fine. Where you want me to meet you? She won't be coming. I don't want you to get no look and get a flashback. She looking pretty today. No, you stay home. I'll go take care of this. I'll meet you. That's it. And then ain't nobody gonna say, man, what you get mad for? Because how can you can't take care of nothing? Why you get mad? If you get what you get so, then you gonna say, hey, wait, hold on, what you getting on? What you getting all spicy for? Because I said, just cool down, Tabasco. Yeah, yes, sir.
What if we have, some fathers that are in that place, and are taking care of the kids, are taking care of the kids.
Cut him up, Ronnie. Ronnie, come on, man. Where you? Come on. Cut him up. You gotta cut him up some more. Thank you. Thank you.
That are taking care of their kids and them some controlling mothers, and sometimes they just don't want to deal with that. But they just want to make sure to take care of their child. And okay, well, say like if you want to take care of your child, then you might not do something that the mother wants you to do right then and there because she want to have that control over you right then and there. And well, you know, sometimes the person don't have it, you gotta wait. Well, you always got well, you're supposed to do. You gotta wait, something like that.
Well, I think you should still be kind to the mother, whatever, and do what you're supposed to do. I mean, you still should be kind. Don't be kind to.
I'll be kind, but I might not respond to
Well,
everything.
you gotta respond to everything just like that. I mean, I'm not saying you gotta respond, but be kind about it. If, you know, that's the thing you do like that. Yeah. All right. Yes, sir. Jerry.
On the way she wants a relationship is for me to include her husband or something. Yes.
Well, I think based upon the circumstances, and I know the circumstances behind it, then you know I would let her know that okay, listen, I don't want my children confused, and so the thing is, we as a family can do this, but I'm not gonna disrespect my father because of what you put yourself in. So if you want to spend time, me, you, and our kids will get together, but I'm not gonna put it. That's just like if you got two people that's two dykes and they talking about, hey, I want to say, no, we won't be doing this together. You won't be, you know, that ain't even coming. So, the thing with me, the couple ain't coming to my house. No, the couple ain't. They ain't coming out there like they together and they both of them. No. So I would say that. And now, if you want the relationship that bad, then you'll make some adjustments. You'll make some change. You'll make some adjustments. All right? Does it make any sense? But thank God. Thank God. I think we've had a productive lesson tonight. I hope it's been informative. I hope it has taught us something. We thank God for the night. Thank God for this brotherhood night. Can't wait till the year that's coming. Because we got a lot planned, and I think the Lord is going to do something wonderful with us. All right? I'm going to do a benediction. Marcus, Lord bless you, and all of our deacons, we thank God for you. If you desire to leave an offering, you can. I'm going to do the benediction, and let's all stand to our feet. Amen. Thank God for Tim. Where you at? Him and Leo been trying to hang with me. They've been trying to hang with me. I don't think we got in here till about 3 or 4 o'clock. Working out, eating, and doing all kind of things. But Tim, you gonna make it, Tim. You gonna make it. Just ain't going in there. You and Leo. All right. Deacon Joe, receive our offering. Amen. Everybody bring on. Okay, brother.